folks, it's Ed with Fish Just a Nut. Recently, Teresa and I were doing some canning. She picked up the iPad, decided to just make a little quick video of different pointers and things she does while canning. Everybody does everything a little bit differently, but this is just some things she does. It doesn't really go deep. If you have questions, please post up the questions. We'll be happy to answer your questions. But it's raw video. As I always said, all of our videos are going to be raw video. So check it out. Let us know what you think. And at the end of the video, I'll be doing a little thing on why I can. So watch all the way through and let us know what you think. Enjoy.
All right, everybody, I'm at it again. We decided to can some venison that a very good friend of ours gave to us today. We're in the process of browning it with garlic and onions and salt and pepper. Going to add a little bit of wine to it, and then we'll go ahead and get it ready to process in the pressure canner. I know that a lot of people are very uncomfortable with canning their own meats and wondering if it's safe. This is my way of doing it, and I have not had any issues over the past 3 or 4 years that I've been doing this, and I'm very comfortable feeding what I can to my family. So if you'd like to give it a try and have some questions, send them to us. We'll get them answered for you. All right, so the meat's almost ready to start putting in the cans. And so I'm getting the pressure canner ready for what we need to do. What I do with my pressure canner is, since we have such hot water up on the mountain, I go ahead and put about maybe a 1/4 cup of vinegar in my canner, and then I put water in it. What this does is it helps prevent all of the white film that builds up on the outside of my jars when I'm pressure canning. Okay, I'm ready to start putting the meat in the jars. I wash my jars in my dishwasher on the hottest setting. I go ahead and let them thoroughly dry in the dishwasher. Then I take them out and put them in my oven. I set my oven between 195 and 200, keeping my jars good and hot while I'm cooking everything. I then take them out and we'll start filling them here in just a little bit. All right. So there's multiple ways that you can can meat. You can dry pack, which is just putting the meat in the jars, no liquid. It can be raw or cooked, and then you just pressure can it to seal them. I do something that's kind of a hybrid between the two. I cook my meat first. I fill my jars.
That's painful. When you cook the meat, that's painful.
That's Ed in the background, folks. I go ahead and fill my jars, and I do pack it down just a little bit. Once I have my jars filled to the level that I want, which takes just a second here, I do go ahead and add a little bit of liquid. And in this case, what I'm using is beef broth. And it is extremely hot, so that, again, you've got hot food, hot jars, and hot liquid. And I fill it to just about a 1/2 inch of headroom. So once I get my jars to where I want them to be and they look the way I want, I then take white vinegar and I wipe the lip of the jars. Now, in all of my ball canning books, it says you can use water. My problem with that is there's a lot of oils in meats when you can them, and the white vinegar seems to strip the oils off the jars better. Okay, so I'm ready to put the lids on my jars. What I do, like I said, is I add the liquid. I take a butter knife and I run it around inside the jar to get all of the air bubbles that I possibly can out of the jar. And I'll do this to every one of these. And I take a paper towel soaked in vinegar and I wipe the lip of the jar. Once I feel like it's good and clean, I then take the ball canning lid. Put it on, put the ring on, and oops, well, we'll be washing that one. Put the lid on, we'll put the ring on it, and then we put it in the pressure canner. We'll come back when the pressure canner's full. Alright, so the pressure canner's full of jars. On my pressure canner, you put just a little bit of oil around the edge of it. I'm not really sure why. I'm sure it helps seal. And you put the top on. There's a couple, again, different ways to be doing this. Depending on the type of pressure canner you're using, just make sure you follow the directions. Mine, you go ahead and alternate as you're tightening it down. Just to make sure everything's together. See, sometimes they're stubborn. So you want to make sure they're good and tight. And once I get it filled, once I get the lid on it and it's all filled, I'm going to go ahead and let it run for a few minutes until steam comes out of this little port right here. I'm going to let it run after that for about 10 minutes. Once it runs clear for 10 minutes, then I'll put the weight on it. And this is going to cook under pressure for an hour and 20 minutes. Now, the time will vary again based on whether or not you're cold packing your meat, whether or not you're hot packing the meat, or just pressure canning it. So,
and elevation.
The elevation, that's right. The elevation of your where you live is going to affect how long you can your meats or your vegetables or whatever you've got in your canner. Okay.
Well, what do you know? We forgot to video the last step. And this is actually several weeks later, so I'm going to be faking it here quite a bit. Faking it. But anyway, so everything's been in the pressure cooker. It's been cooking for 40 minutes, 50 minutes, whatever the time period is. Once it has cooked, you turn off the heat. You allow the pressure cooker to cool down. And after it's cooled down for a while, 10, 20 minutes or so, you will come over and you're going to want to use tongs or something because this will still be very, very hot. You'll pull the weight off. After you pull the weight off, that's going to release some steam out of there. You go ahead and let that finish releasing the steam. Once that's done, you can then open up your pressure cooker and get all your canned goods out. And like I said, we're faking this one because we've already let the steam off. This was probably several weeks ago when we started this video. And you open up your pressure cooker, there's going to be water and steam and shit coming out of there as well. And voila, damn, somebody already marked the date and everything on these while it was in the pressure cooker. No, not really. You're going to want to date and mark what you have in your jars, because if you build up a lot of stuff, you won't know what the hell it is or how long it's been there. And as you eat your canned goods, you're going to want to eat the oldest stuff first, of course. So that's why you date it. You can just mark it on the lid of the jar. You can buy the fancy labels that stick on the side, whatever you want to do. But it's just important to know what it is and how long it's been there. Yeah, so there it is. Teresa's points on canning and Ed coming in at the end and making a mess of things. But anyway, why can? Several people ask us, why do you guys can so much? You can just go to the store and get what you want. Well, it's a little bit cheaper. You can grow stuff in your garden. You can buy things at various farmers markets at lower prices than in the store. Plus, it makes it easier when you're busy. When you have a busy lifestyle, it keeps you out of the fast food thing. That's the most important thing to me. It keeps us from, we only get about 2 or 3 hours every evening together. So it keeps us from doing that quick stop at the fast food joint to grab something to eat, or eating that frozen piece of crap or whatever it is. Because when you have canned something, it's ready to go. And we can literally come home, grab a jar of tomato sauce, grab some meats, throw some noodles in a pot for 20 minutes, and we're ready to eat. And it's various things. We have tomato sauce, we have refried beans, we have brown bean soup, we have ham, we have potatoes, whatever it is. It's a quick way of throwing the meal together and not spending a whole lot of time cooking, and it's still a better meal than stopping and grabbing that fast food. Also, others that have seen Talk of the Tavern, and you've seen the show I did about prepping, then you know Teresa and I are a little bit of prepper. We're not crazy on prepping, but if something ever happens and there's no power for several days, we have food on the shelf. We have food on the shelf. We can set up our little camp shelf stove that we take camping with us, and we can eat. So that's why I can. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, please post them up, ask, let us know.